Today, let's talk about the 5 most common mistakes that people are making right here in Zimbabwe when they are building their homes. Mistake number 1. People here in Zimbabwe build in remote areas. I don't know that is it desperation for building or really people are in a rush to move away from paying rentals. I don't know the reason why. But you see people building in very, very remote areas where there is no access to their sites. There is no services closer by. If someone is to get sick, for example, in the middle of the night, imagine you've got a pregnant wife in those kinds of locations, or your child happens to be sick in the middle of the night. You see that they are very, very far away from medical institutes. I know it's an issue of cost. Maybe those locations might be cheaper, but it's not advisable to build very far away from your amenities, your medical services, pharmacies, shops, and even where there is a good road network. It's a disadvantage in the long run, and in most cases it threatens even your livelihood. Mistake number 2. Sometimes people just shy away from the better parts of the city, but when you see the structures that they build there, you will see that it was never an issue to deal with money. Some people would have a good budget, but for some reason they shy away from the better parts of the cities. Asking or gathering information is not expensive. So in most cases you see that it's actually ignorance, because what they end up building in those bad parts of the city is something that is very good, and you can tell from the kind of structures or from the methods of building that someone had built there, but they had the money even to just do the proper thing and go into the closer or the nicest parts of the city. So that's a mistake that you really should avoid. And in order to avoid this mistake, take your time whenever you are choosing one way, whenever you are shopping for a piece of land to build. Take your time, consider all these factors. Is the location well placed enough? Is it closer to amenities? Is there a good network? Is there a good access in as far as the location is concerned? Because in most cases people have got the money, but they just shy away from the better parts of the city. Sometimes it's not anything to do with the cost, because you can still find a good location at the same cost or at roughly the same cost as building or finding a place very far away from the city. Moving on to mistake number 3. Now this is the most common: over-investing. You see people building double-story houses in wrong locations, right? And again, if you look closely, you will see that it's never an issue to deal with money, because if you see someone building a double-story, they have the money, but what lacks is probably the information or a proper approach as to should you build that kind of a building in that kind of a location. So when you see someone building a double story in like a high density suburb, you know that that has got nothing to do with money. They have the money, they have the cash. They could still build that same building in the correct location. So that's like a mistake to avoid. Don't over invest. Yes, it's your place to stay, it's your place to live in, but then you always need to consider your return on investment. Don't over invest in wrong places. Mistake number 4, we've always spoken about this. Don't invest on land that is non-titled, right? Whenever you see properties where the ownership is not authentic, is not so clear, there is no point for you to put in 50,000 worth of development there when the ownership is unclear. And now this is a mistake that a lot of people do. They pour in a lot of money in non-titled land or land that has got no clear ownership, right? You see people building, I won't call out the names of some of the locations, but there are no title deeds, and then someone pours in 100,000 there. Clearly that doesn't make any sense. If you have got $100,000 to put on a building, surely you have got 30,000 to buy titled land. So it's just an issue of safeguarding your investment, right? You don't want to build, and after you completing your house, after spending 100,000, someone then comes and claims ownership to that land, or someone comes, or even the authorities come and say and tell you that where you have built your property maybe wasn't meant for a residential house. You say you don't want that. So always make sure that whenever you're about to do a huge investment, whenever you're about to build or to pour in a lot of money on a building structure, make sure that that land is titled so that you have got clear ownership. And that can be solved by just going and doing your due diligence, right? Move around. Always be attracted to titled land as opposed to cheap land. Because I know in some cases, people end up buying those lands that have got not so clear ownership because they appear cheaper as compared to buying land that has got title deeds. But it's a very, very huge mistake, and a lot of people end up losing all their investments simply by not buying titled land. And moving on to the last one, number 5. It doesn't mean that is the least, but it is one of the common mistakes again that people are making. Whenever people are building, their focus is mainly on cost. So when you are building, don't focus on cost. Focus on the experience and rather the end product. The moment your prime focus is on reducing cost, then definitely you know that the quality of structures that you are building is also compromised. So that's a mistake that a lot of people do. They end up hiring cheap labor, right? Not quality labor. They hire cheap labor, and we all know how that ends. If you hire cheap labor, then you have got a cheap building. Then you compromise a lot on the quality of your building structure. And that always leads to double handling. You don't want to build your house and then 3 months down the line, you see cracks developing. That's a loss because you are now going to spend twice or thrice the amount of money that you should have spent had you hired the correct people. So whenever you are doing your hiring, just make sure that you don't hire the cheapest. I would hire someone who's in the middle, but not the cheapest. Because when you hire the cheapest, you can't get a quality product which is cheaper. We always say in construction, there are 3 things that you have to watch out for: price, time, and the quality. So don't focus on hiring cheap labor. Rather hire the correct labor, rather hire people who know what they are doing so that you avoid double handling in the end. Because cheap is always expensive in the end. I hope you always find this information helpful. And these are the topics or the issues that we always publish and discuss in our magazine, the House Plan Magazine. It's available countrywide in any Booties outlet. And also you can download the digital version if you follow the link in our bio. So from me and the rest of the team, we'll catch you on the next one.